Talafalava and good evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. My name is Falifia Jr. Brandon Fomatu, and I will be facilitating tonight's talanoa. We at UTOPIA Washington continue to recognize that we, as diasporic Indigenous people, reside and pull resources from the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish, Duwamish, and Muckleshoot people. It is important to understand that the long-standing history that has brought us to reside on this land and to seek our understanding of our place within that history. Land acknowledgements do not exist in the past tense or historical context. Colonialism is a current ongoing process, and we need to build our mindfulness of our present participation. Recognition is just a step in empowering the Indigenous people of the lands on which we reside, and you can visit native-land.ca, that's native-land.ca, to view the Indigenous territories and lands of which you occupy, as well as various resources to get in touch with the nations that steward those lands to better support them. Indigenous people are still here, and we must help them in their right to thrive and self-govern. I am the Events and Productions Manager for UTOPIA Washington. My main responsibilities are to this organization and our community as a whole is to oversee and provide safe and resourceful events for our community members to partake in, ones that are centered on our cultural foundations of community and gathering, while also helping to indigenize our diasporic journeys and experience and provide safe spaces for our cutie pies, which are our queer and trans Pacific Islanders, and our cutie BIPOC community. Talanoa is a series that UTOPIA Washington utilizes to have discussions and talanoa around the important topics that speak to our lived experiences and backgrounds as cutie pies. Talanoa in Samoan means dialogue and to have conversation. Aureliando, one of our tonight's panelists, whom you will learn about later, explains that talanoa derives from the words tala, meaning word, and noa, meaning to tie together. We use this platform and series to highlight the stories of our cutie pie community, as exploring our history, thriving in our present circumstances, and discussing the future and health of our community and family. As the Events and Productions Manager, it is my honor to host tonight's talanoa, centered on the cultural presentation of Vaka the Voyage, brought to you by the amazing members and volunteers of the Tautua Trans Leadership Cohort. This evening's talanoa is made possible by the support from the City of Seattle Human Services Department. Lava for your support. Tonight's panel includes Nesha Mangadero, Naya Tuyasosopo, De Lorenza Tunipopo, and RLA Yando. Thank you all so very much for being here tonight. I'd like for all of us to do some very short introductions to get started. Please say your preferred name and pronouns, where you're from, and answer our check-in question, which is, what do you love about being your most authentic and true self? I'll go ahead and mirror so that we all have an example to go by. So again, my name is Falifia Jr. Brandon Fomatu. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am Samoan Chinese, currently living here in Washington, grew up in Hawaii, born in American Samoa. What do I love about being my most authentic and true self? I think I love that I walk around now with a very sure sense of self. I no longer care about what others think about me, and I spend most of my time just empowering myself and living in my identity. So yeah, we can go over to, we'll start with Ara and then we'll zigzag down.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, Talafalava, my name is RLA Yando. My pronouns are she, her. I'm originally from the beautiful islands of American Samoa, currently living here in Washington State. And I am currently serving as the Cultural Program Manager here at UTOPIA Washington. It's my honor to be in this space with all these lovely individuals sitting on this panel. And it's my honor to be able to come through to your home via this virtual platform. And in response to the question, what do I love about my living my authentic self? The liberty that it brings to me. It's such a beautiful thing to be free in who you are. I enjoy just being able to express the person and the woman that I've always wanted to be, and see it come into full fruition. And that's the liberty and the joy that I get to experience in being my authentic self. Thank you, Brandon. I'd like to pass it over to Del.
Aloha and talofa, everyone. My name is Del De Lorenzo Tunupopo. You can call me Del. I am originally from the islands of American Samoa, from the village of Whaitua. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve here as the administrative assistant here at UTOPIA Washington, and to support and be here for our staff here at UTOPIA Washington. And to answer the question, something authentic about my identity. I like to share a lot of the talents that I have. It makes me give back to our community, and just as Ara said, just to live free and explore options. Thank you. I'd like to pass it on to Naya.
Thank you, Del. Hi, everyone. My name is Renaya Naya Siasopo. I currently live in Seattle, Washington, but I'm originally from Carson, California. Roots to both American Samoa and also Samoa Independent State. I currently am the operations manager at the Federal Way Lowe's, store number 2346, and I love my job. I love what I do. I also teach cultural arts for the Manuel Performing Arts Academy, based out of Orange County, California. To answer the question, what do I love the most about living in my truth and being my most authentic self? To echo what Ara said about freedom, I think it really ties down to the freedom you have, the freedom to express yourself in a way that it just feels so genuine. It feels so right. And I love the fact that, being free and the liberty you're given in your authenticity, it definitely affects your decision making and the things that you decide to do, the words you decide to say to people. It's an entire experience that I absolutely love. And yeah, all right. And I'd like to pass it on. Pass it right back to Brandon.
Thanks, Naya. I loved all of your answers. I think Nisha's having a bit of trouble, so when she gets back on, we'll be able to intro her. Thank you for that answer, for those answers. I love that. The way that tonight's talanoa is going to happen is we're going to do a bit of discussion first with a few questions. Then we'll get into watching the actual premiere of Vaka the Voyage on Facebook Live. And then we're going to go into another set of questions to sort of talk about the actual behind the scenes and what it took to put that together. So thank you for that. We'll just jump right into our first question. To what or to whom do you attribute your identity to? I know, Ara, you talked about liberty. Del, you talked about wanting to share your art and your abilities with our community, as well as Naya bringing up the fact of freedom. Hey, we have Naisha back. How are you doing?
Great. Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
Service. But I'll go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, sure. We're just doing intros. So name, pronoun, where you're from, and answering our intro question, what do you love about being your most authentic and true self?
All right. So my name is Nisha Mangarero. Pronouns are her and she. What I love about being my most authentic self and true self is pretty much feeling in place, being in a comfort zone that you are able to express yourself. I love everything about it. It's what, how would I say this? It's what motivates me to be more me.
Right on. I love that. So right before you came on, Nisha, we're jumping right into the first question, which is great. So this is for all of our panelists tonight. So I'll repeat it. To what or to whom do you attribute your identity to? I know it sort of links to the first question, but just wanted to start off with a question that lets us get to know you all. We can maybe start with Naya, and then we'll go to Naisha, Ara, and then Joe.
Absolutely. I didn't share this, but my pronouns are she, her, hers. And then let's jump right into the question. To what or who do I attribute? I think for this one, as I was reading and like thinking about this and listening to what you're saying, Brandon, I would say to what I would say music and culture. I could easily say like my family, because it's very true. My parents, my grandparents, my uncles, aunties, cousins, my church growing up, they all had some kind of a way in shaping and forming my love for culture and what we do. But I think if there's anything that I could put, I would like to address the what more so. I think it's music and my love for that music that has kind of got me through a lot. And so I would say music, our cultural arts. Those are kind of the things that I love so much. And so in harnessing that love, that's kind of what I could attribute it to.
Awesome. I love that. And Naya's being really humble because, and we'll get into this more later, but Naya hella helped around a lot of the groups, and she's very, very talented with music and with dance. So thank you so much for that, Naya. Naisha, what was your answer?
All right. So what attributes to my identity, right? So
like, is there anyone or anything that really has helped you come into your identity or has fueled your most authentic self?
Actually, yes, I actually have one person that literally helped give me the strength to fully come out and just pretty much be comfortable with my true self. That person is none other than one of my closest friends, J. Tani, and she was somebody that was a little younger than somebody was a year younger than I was more out and open. She was strong, and that's where I got my strength. I was able to say, hey, she's able to do that and not even care, what's stopping me from actually being in that level. And to this day, I guess she's played an important part of my life, or will always be a part of my life because of that fact. And so that's pretty much.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Nisha. Yeah, I think that's a common factor for a lot of us cutie pies, is that there are people, whether they're family or chosen family, who really help to give us strength in our identity and being our true self. So thanks so much for sharing that. Ara?
Yeah, thank you so much, Naya and Naisha. Those are beautiful answers. But to what or whom do I attribute my identity to? So there are so many factors, right? I can say my family, which is like the very first classroom we have, right? All Pacific Islanders normally refer to that phrase as this is the foundation of our lives, starts from our family. But tonight I want to talk about two things that I attribute my identity to. And one, I was very privileged to grow up in a family with strong women. My grandmother was a very was a prayer warrior, and so was my mom, her sisters, and even on my father's side. And I had a sister, I have a sister who was very God-fearing. I attribute my identity to them. They're strong women. We share such a bond, specifically my mom and my sister. We share such a strong bond. It's unbreakable. I can truly say that my strength and resilience comes from them, right? They taught me to always stand firm in what I believe in. They modeled what it truly means to be unapologetic. And that's, I guess, how I was able to showcase that to the world about being unapologetic about myself, right? And we're very tight knit, my sister and my mother and I. I can honestly say that the woman that I am today, or the individual that I am today, has a lot to do with what they've instilled and imparted in me. And the second thing I'd like to attribute my identity to would be my community, the very community that I'm from, to those who came before me, those who laid the path. And so many times within, and I'll speak specifically for the Fa'afafine community, so many times these people are unnamed, right? They're unsung sheroes and heroes. They remain nameless, but every day they're probably like the very ones standing behind any cultural activity, behind every cultural function, right? They're the people behind the scenes, and I attribute my identity to them, because without them, I wouldn't be able to access certain spaces, such as this one right now. I wouldn't be able to speak on the identity that we all collectively have. So I attribute my identity to the people that I love the most, my family, specifically my mom and my sisters and all the strong women in my life, and to my Fa'afafine community, because it's through them that I learned how to become, right? It's through them that I learned how to become Ara. So thank you to everyone in this community.
Thanks so much for that, Ara. That's very beautiful. I can relate to that. Strong women have always been a factor in my life that are the reason why I am who I am. So I totally relate to that, and I love that answer so much. Del, how are you doing, and to what or to whom do you attribute your identity to?
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you, Ara and Naya and Nisha, for the wonderful answers. I think Ara really stole my answers. I like to, for the people who I attribute my identity is are my mom, and one of my great aunts. She's still alive today. Is Lele. Um, because of my mom, I wouldn't have a voice to sing, and that's the talent that I got from her. From my great aunt Lele. I'm very into crafting and creating, and through her, I've learned a lot from her. Of how to use nature culturally, and yeah, she taught me a lot. And second would be my Samoan Fa'afafine community. Um, through ups and downs in my life, I've come to find out that these my close friends are the ones that really got my back. And without them, I wouldn't be here today. Just like what Ara said, I find that just going around them, I came out of my shell, and I'm comfortable to come out, because I know that there are brave women and Fa'afafine who came before me and who paved the way for us to come out. So yeah.
Awesome. I love that. You actually paved the way right into our next question, because I know Renaya talked about music and dance really attributing to who she is. And I know that a lot of us have really strong cultural backgrounds that have consistently stayed in our lives to pave paths, but also to help guide our journey. So our second question is that I know culturally a lot of our people see us, the third gender, the Fa'afafine, those outside of the binary as usually the practitioners and those who perpetuate culture. But what is something about you that most people don't necessarily would know, and would you be willing to share that? We can let's start with Del, since Del led us into that question.
Yes. This is a hard question, Brandon. I don't know what I don't know any other thing that people do not know about me. Um, I want to say that when I was young, I played sports. Um, aside from culturally stuff, but yeah, I played sports. Um, I would like to get back into it and show people that I'm not more of just a creator in arts and craft, but I can also kick a ball and run with the ball.
Right on, right on. I love that. No, I love that answer. That's a good answer. Let's pass the ball on to Naisha.
Yay! Let me play with the ball real quick. All right. I guess I'll start off with just me personally. I know some of you guys already know I'm Chamorro. I am also half caste Carolinian. So, if you were to literally put it in fraction or percentage, I am actually 75% Carolinian and I'm 25% Chamorro. My mom is Chamorro Carolinian and my dad is full Carolinian. That's something that a lot of you guys do not know. But the crazy thing about it is that I know more of Chamorro, so I know the language. But I still haven't really scratched much of the surface in regards to the Carolinian. It's crazy because it's 75% blood in me, but I guess that's one of my main future goals. I've always been pushing my dad to kind of start, stop talking to me in Chamorro. You're not Chamorro. How about you start, giving me some, just teaching me at least to speak it and understand it and be able to own up to being 75% Carolinian. So yeah, that's something about me that a lot of people do not know.
I thought good to know. I don't think I knew that about you either. I was actually asking Aura earlier. I was like, "What is Naisha?" So I don't get that wrong.
It's called Chamolinian.
Chamolinian.
Yes, Chamorro Carolinian.
We love it. So. Right on. Let's pass this question on to Aura.
Oh. Well, I think something people don't know is, well, first of all, within my group of friends, I'm labeled as this reverend or pastor's wife. There's this narrative that goes around, right? There's this narrative that goes around. People think that I'm this pastor's wife, and in Samoan culture, a pastor's wife is given so much respect and also is given so much responsibility and into knowing cultural things and knowing things with church. But one thing I would like for people to know this evening is that I have never ever once claimed that I was. I never once claimed that I was a pastor's wife. I never told people to call me a pastor's wife. I never told people to call me this cultural guru or practitioner of culture. It was just put on me and imposed on me. That's something that people imposed on me because I guess my affiliation with certain individuals that are involved with cultural work. And also, I guess how I carry myself. I don't know. It's not my fault. But there has never been a point in my life where I have ever made a claim to be, and I am the one and only that you can come to me about culture. I've never, ever said that. In fact, we come from a culture where self-abasement is such a very big thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so if there's anything I want folks to know is that that pressure is so heavy on my shoulders. I will tell you right now on live that I don't know everything, right? I don't know everything, but I am an open vessel, and I have such a passion for culture because without it, I wouldn't know who I am, right? Yeah, that's something that you should know, and your children will someday know. The lights went out.
Let us pray.
Thank you for clearing that up. The rumors were just too crazy. Thank you so much, Ara.
Oh, Brandon, these rumors, and it's a hard life to live up to. And the moment I fall, right, or the moment I come short, oh, si ba iyangat sinaman no, iyangat ba yang red, so hard to please stop it.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's actually funny because that's before really getting to know you, that's actually how I saw you because of how everyone else talked about you. It's like, oh, that's the Rev. But thank you for clearing that up.
The Rev can be, human sometimes, right? They can say if you're dirty, I'm Rev. But I'm always touched by this community love.
Oh, well, you heard it here first.
Thank you, Rev.
Thank you, Rev. We'll move on to Naya.
Yeah, something that people may not know. I think for me on this one, my answer ties right into an experience we have with the luau. And it's the fact that before dancing and everything else, my very first instrument that I played was I was a drummer. I was 5, 6 years old. Just couldn't stay away from the drums in church. And then from there, moved over to the bass guitar, just whoever didn't come to church, that's the instrument I ended up playing. And why I bring that up for a lot of people that may not know that is because when it comes to my style of choreography and teaching, when we had our practices for luau's, I would make a lot of changes just because being a musician and hearing certain things, and then when you practice the same song over and over and over, naturally you just want to start making little changes here and there. And I remember there was a point where one of my girls in our island queendom of Tonga literally just looked at me, was like, bitch, no, this ain't it. Like, you need to hang it up. And right there in that moment, I took a step back and I agreed. I was like, you know what, you're right. But I think for me, that's just something that people may not know, but beyond dancing, I loved playing instruments way before that. And yeah, that's it.
Naya, wait, and something else other people don't know is that you taught the farapu for the Tahitian version.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that part.
You're the farapu queen.
No wonder why you like to dance a lot and beat drums.
Del, your screen is still blurry.
I'm dead. Actually, no, you and Ara, that segues us into our third question really well. This question is actually specifically for Del and Naya. I wanted to ask this question because as the productions manager behind the scenes, I witnessed all four of you worked hard. But for Del and Naya, what fuels your drive for cultural practice? In your case, learning Siva, learning Pese, learning song. Where did all of that start?
Go ahead, Del.
Thank you. I guess all of this started. I would say I was at a very young age. It started within the church. Music has been a part of my family for many years, and it still continues. So just being part of the church and being part of the youth, being given opportunities to, be creative in skits and, Bisifaitanga and how to deliver a message. So from there on, I've been looking at, going out in the community. There's more to do, but not just within the church. You can also do it in the community. What keeps me going is not losing the culture. I mean, if we put a stop to it and we don't just keep continuing this talent, then we might lose our culture. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Through music, we learn our language. We want our stories to be heard, be told. We want our stories to go out there and share it to the world so that they can see our culture. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And same question to you, Naya.
Awesome. Thank you, Del, for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely relate to the fact that Del pointed out how a lot of it started in church growing up. I quickly identify with that. A lot of the arts and the background in dancing. I'll be very forward and transparent about this, but I didn't really grow up with anyone saying, I am the Siva Samoa master of the world. I'm going to pass this on to you. I never really directly had that kind of experience, but in ministry and growing up in church, I was taught from a very early age in our culture um, just the significance of how culture plays a big part into the way we worship God and the way that we serve and the way that we stay grounded and the way that we hold family at the center and we hold those values. And so I will say a lot of my motivation and fuel comes from my forefathers and my elders, my everyone in the church growing up that has impacted me and inspired me to sing, to dance. What I will say is like um, for Siva Samoa and teaching Siva and teaching Polynesian dance. I think this goes to the last question. A lot of people don't know. On my father's side, it's a lot of just church, full gospel, Pentecostal. And on my mother's side, there's a heavy influence of like my auntie Tofi. We just celebrated her 1 year a couple weeks ago in Utah. They're all, old timers at Polynesian Cultural Center. They were the band, they were the choreographers, and these are all my mom's family. So to have all of that on in my family growing up, it definitely motivated me and kind of checked me to be like, don't let that go. Continue to carry on that torch and carry that fire. But what I will say is this: when it comes to the fuel behind what I do, I'm going to be very forward. It is purely and wholeheartedly the love that I have for Siva Samoa and for cultural arts. Because if what's inside of me is not fueling me, um, then um, everything around me is going to control what I do. So if the no matter what reaction I get from a crowd or what reaction that I get from social media, it doesn't matter what does or does not happen in that regard because of the love I have inside of me for my students and for my fellow Fafafine sisters. That's kind of what keeps me resilient in the realm of teaching cultural arts. And so I want to encourage everyone who has that passion. As long as the love inside of you is strong, nothing else can discourage you or deter you from that purpose. That's it.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Naya. I love that. I love those answers a lot. I think, especially Nisha, I know you're not Samoan, but I know for Samoans, church is just a very strong influence in our lives.
Yes.
And if it's the same for you, Nisha, that's right on too. But we'll find more about that in the next question, which is actually for Nisha and Ara. Sort of like the third question, but specifically, well, I'll just ask it. Please share with us a story of when you started to learn your culture, whether recently or a lot older, how it started and how you've grown over the years with that knowledge. And Nisha, let's start with you.
Okay. So basically, on the Chamorro side, I learned it since just growing up. Throughout every little thing about being a Chamorro, I pretty much live Chamorro life. With the Carolinian side, I started off. It started off in elementary school. Actually, they were offering bilingual Carolinian as a bilingual class in our elementary school. So I started off with dancing. We there's I guess, some cultural dances that we were taught by our teacher, who was from one of the outer islands of the Caroline Islands, who migrated over to Saipan and became an instructor. I was also a part of a stick dance in our village, and um, that actually brought me all the way to Tokyo, Japan for performance,
Wow.
just to pretty much represent our culture. There was one in New Caledonia that I had to pull out of, but that was one of the experiences that I wanted to actually be a part of. It was one of the biggest, I don't know if it was a Pacific island in general where they all just meet up in New Caledonia. Um, but yeah, um, it really hasn't grown as much because I'm now no longer exposed to it in here in the US, but I do know like some people out here. Um, but there's a difference between a Carolinian from the north side where I'm from and a Carolinian from the south side. And a lot of them, the Carolinians in the south side are actually out here stateside. And I would say the only difference between our cultural dances is they have an upbeat march dance, or our march dance in the north is like you probably take a nap before we even finish probably the first verse, but it's really nice, I must say. But we always lean towards something that's upbeat and live, you know what I mean, in performances. So and that's where I get a lot of my passion for Tahitian dancing. It's just I think it's very exotic. I think it's, you know, sexy. I love the whatever you call that, hipsters. Yeah. But yeah,
Right on.
I really hope to probably in the future either be a part of being an instructor for the dances that have been taught to me. I think that would be something that I feel would need to be passed on to the new generations.
Right on. Thank you so much for that, Sasha. I also want to point out that I know the Saipan Tribune shouted out you and Sasha Camacho for representing the CNMI
Yeah.
during our luau. So that was really great because, and I want to say that that's also part of your growth is, you know, being recognized for that representation. I know that I remember I was in the back of the banquet room watching when you guys came on, and like I heard a lot of people like you know, there are people who shout and then there are people who like scream because they know like they're either from there or like they, you know, they probably didn't think that that was going to come out and be represented.
Right.
So congratulations to that, because that's awesome. One, not running to represent that group of island, like those groups of people. But you know, out here in Washington, like we're all diasporic right now. I'm sure, and even on tonight's Facebook Live, I know that there are a lot of probably other folks who are either from CNMI who will see you tonight and see that there's representation. Because I know, did you join Utopia in 2007? I did my homework. I tried to do my homework.
So I was exposed to Utopia since I got into Seattle, actually.
Right on.
And from there, you know, it was always about the pageantry. And during COVID times, is, you know, there's big changes, and also just newer stuff that made me feel that, you know, there's more to it than just the pageant. So, you know, that's where I brought in Sasha, and, you know, I was telling her, I was like, man, you know, you're not gonna find this anywhere where they're assisting us, you know. So we need to also try to give back, you know, be a part of it. You know, these are people that shouldn't even really care about what you're dealing with, but they care about us. They're a part of our community. So as a part of this community, you know, I think that, you know, we should also have a hand in either volunteering and being a part of it. And
I love that. Yeah.
I'm not really a part, but they have this a group for the CNMI people, and I was exposed to it by one of our very own. I'm not sure if you guys remember Didi, one of our friends who work with you guys. So she brought me to that group, and that is where I told them about us performing, and they were happy that we're being represented. So they kind of reached out to people from the news, and they wanted me to kind of get in an interview, and that's how the Saipan treatment came. Because our community in Saipan is really stronger now. I must say that we have people out there that are helping them and representing our community, and it's strengthening. So I was happy about that as well, because back in our days it was us versus the world, more likely. It's not really. It's still, how would I say it? What's the word for it? Where it's not accepted, more likely. It's still one of the taboo kind of thing in Saipan where, the only time that you can shine is when it's dark. That's when you get that when nobody's looking kind of thing. But yeah, I'm glad that it's not that way anymore, and that they're getting more exposure outside, and they're even getting more help with our government. So that to me is a big step for my people in Saipan. And yep.
Right on. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nisha. I will be sure to get that group information from you so that we can put it in the comments for this live, so that it's a resource for people to go to if they need it. But thank you for sharing that. Representation does matter, and you being here and you representing CNMI for the Northern Mariana Islands at our luau, it meant the world to us. I know I can speak for all of us when I say that. So thank you. And then moving on to Ara.
So I guess Naisha has mentioned everything, and everyone here has basically mapped out how and when this passion for culture has started. Cultural work started for me, like everyone here, was through family and church. And it was through family practices where I was able to catch on to cultural practices, right? And in Samoan culture, everyone says that there's no formal education given for practices, but it's just through watching and paying attention and through listening, right? And so that's how I was able to navigate it through my family. And in church taught us how to address people in a formal way. Your elders, how to speak eloquently, not only to the Creator, but to those who you surround yourself with. And so these two facets really helped shape that drive and that passion that grew until now. And so a story that I could share with you, growing up in Samoa, when it comes to Samoan culture in school, when it's taught, the Fa'afafine community is often, overlooked, I guess, because we're not really taken seriously in these matters, right? When it comes to ceremonial speech or cultural practices, it's always cis hetero males that represent a class or represent a sitting, right, in a educational setting. But that was my drive. That's where my drive came from. That was where the challenge was brought. I would always like to go neck and neck, so to speak, with hetero cis male Samoan men when it came to writing, when it came to ceremonial speeches, when it came to cultural practices. I wanted to, what would drive me is I wanted to prove to people that Fa'afafine One, of course, everyone knows we're one of the most intelligent communities out there in Samoan society, but also we are more than capable of holding our own culturally. And so one of my mentors, the late Tofan El Muapali Simanu, would always lecture her Fafina students, and I being one of them. And she would always tell us that you may think that the world would laugh and, will make fun of you, but the only way people will take you seriously is when you stand your ground in culture. And so I took that and ran with it. It was a challenge for me to do better. I'm not where I should be, right? And I'll admit that. But every day I make the choice to learn more about not only my culture, but all the cultures around the Pacific. And that's how I feed this drive and how I feed this work. And that's what I bring into this work, the desire to learn, a growth mindset, if you will. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that very eloquent answer, Ara. And speaking of work, we are about to transition into showing for the first time on Facebook Live the entire
beautiful
video for Vaka the Voyage. But before that, there is a pinned comment in the Facebook comments from UTOPIA that has a link to a really short survey. I believe it's 8 or 9 questions. The link, filling out the link helps us to not only gauge our audience, but also to improve on our talanoa and all of our resources that we provide. So if you guys can all make sure you fill that survey out, it would really, really help us. But yeah, we are going to transition into the premiere of Vaka the Voyage, brought to you by these lovely ladies that I have the privilege of speaking to tonight, as well as all of the volunteers and members of the Tautua Trans Leadership Cohort.
Can't wait.
Yes.
Due to the fact that she was a girl. To make matters worse, her parents disowned her when they found out that she was queer. Leaving her family behind, she decided that she will also leave her Pacifica identity, as it reminded her of nothing but bitter memories. Sandy left in her youth to stay with a relative, affectionately known as Mama Tele. Mama Tele was a no-nonsense straight-shooter type of person. She was respected by the queer community as a strict leader and elder to her people. But with Sandy, she tried her very best to create a space that would allow Sandy to ease up and be her true self. Hence, Mama Tele often puts up with Sandy's antics, as we are allowed to say no.
something to drink. Sandy! 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 What do you want, Mama? I got me. See how you were that? Why are you always distracting me? I'm trying to write your paper.
As Sandy's eyes start to get a little heavy, she finds the urge to rest, but her body was definitely telling her that she needed to take a break. After all, she was just human. Finally, after nodding in and out of her sleeping stupor, she falls asleep with her face snug into a book she had spent the whole evening reading. Fast asleep, the world around her slowly changes into something anew, entering a dreamlike state, a world in which she will soon find out is made up of the very essence of her ancestors, a sacred place that only a few can dwell, and among those that dwell are a few.
Well, looking at you too, Charlie. I have many names in the Pacifica. To others, I am an enigma. To some, an entity and a bringer of death. Most importantly, sir, I am the vessel that connects your world to ours. My name is Vaka, but you can call me Vaka for short. And here, standing, you are in the land of your ancestors. We have seen you struggle, Sandy. You have denied your people and your heritage for quite some time. So, we are here to put some sense in that compliment husky head.
I'm sorry. You keep saying we. Who's we?
Sadly. Isn't it obvious? Look around you. You are in the land of your ancestors. Here comes your style. We is in reference to ancestors. The very ancestors that you've been studying in that workplace of yours.
Oh, no. Carol, get me out of here. I did not sign up to be surrounded by a whole bunch of dead people.
Watch your tongue, dear, or you will soon join the dead.
Who are they?
Your tribe, your ancestors. Don't be afraid. They are here to see you. Sandy, after all, we've been waiting for their arrival for quite some time. Don't be afraid. Just listen to the sacred sound floating through the wind. And if you listen just a little closer, you will hear the various chants the island brings you in the passing of the waves. technology and blessed us. Now our journey begins.
Our journey? Wait, where are you taking me?
I am taking you to a much needed tour of Pacifica. It seems like you've lost your fondness of your people for quite some time. So, we need to rekindle that light in your heart. Sadly, it is the mission of your team to rekindle that flame once again. And I think it's best if we start from a place of origin.
Wait, origin? You're from somewhere? I really thought you were just picking up my imagination.
Wow. Sadly, you foolish child. Of course I'm from somewhere. I am from the tropical island nation, located in the South Pacific. I think it's easier for me to show
Known as the soft coral capital of the world and covered in dense tropical forests, Fiji is a nation that occupies 7,056 square miles within the Pacific Ocean and is one of the most popular countries in the region. Fiji is the home of the Vaka. Like Vaka, the Vaka are a beautiful and resilient gender native to Fiji. They are socially celebrated and accepted amongst their people and heritage. Throughout this journey, you will learn about similar identities that are also unique to their own cultures. They are the caretakers and the providers of their family. They are the keepers of art and dance. Perhaps it is much easier to show you rather than to tell you. Nisam Bulavinaka from the beautiful islands of Fiji.
Deep in the islands of the South Pacific lies an exotic paradise, an archipelago consisting of 322 islands with 106 inhabited by people. The flower islands of the South Pacific, born from the heart of God, Tautua, we welcome you to the islands of Fiji.
She looks so familiar. Of course she's a native of the dead. Anyway, enough with the Kalua. Let's get right into the gift. Sandy, this is our gift from us, the Fijians, to you, my love. I hope you enjoy it. The Vaka gifted Sandy what is known as a masi. The masi is a decorated cloth made from the mulberry bark, made through the process of a traditional art form. As it is adorned onto Sandy, it is with hope that she will be able to feel the passion and the devotion that went into the making of this precious gift.
I'm so touched. I don't know what to say. I mean, the performance was amazing, but to receive such a meaningful gift.
Are you crying now? Because that was just the beginning, love.
Are you for real?
Of course.
But then where to next?
Follow.
What better way to follow up than from the home of the Floritas? And I'm not talking about flowers. In likeness to the Floritas or flowers and their nature, the Northern Mariana Islands are known for their sandy shores and mountainous landscapes. Floritas are also the third gender in the Northern Marianas. They are the embodiment of passion and brightness. The very first celebration of pride and diversity in gender was held in July 2018. Watch as the beautiful Floritas sway and move, celebrating their identity and belonging to their culture. Half a day from the Northern Marianas. This is a symbol of strength and power, and as so, Sandy's ancestors hope that she will continue to believe in her inner strength. With Aotearoa famously known as the home of the long white cloud, it is also the home of the Wakawahine, Tangata Iratani, and Iriwiti Takatapui. These diverse identities are embraced by the Maori community, and they are also well versed in the arts of music and dance. The Maori word takatapui historically referred to the devoted relationships between same-gendered individuals, but today has grown to encompass many of the diverse identities and gender expressions. The beautiful Wakawahine chose to share with us their kanikani, or dance, and the beautiful Maori native language. Kia ora from Aotearoa. The ancestors' hope is that by gifting this to Sandy, she will be able to withstand the outside influences from shrouding her true identity as a Pacific Islander. Their hopes are that she too will always choose to be courageous amid adversity and be able to protect herself. After bidding farewell to Aotearoa, they set sail for the friendly islands of Tonga. The kingdom of Tonga, also known as the Island of Polynesia, is the last surviving monarchy in the Pacific. It is the home to the Whakawhawhina identity and community, which means in the manner of a woman. These beautiful individuals are also known as Lehi. Ladies are part of the old Tongan tradition encompassing the gender expression that does not conform to stereotypes and takes up roles in service. They are the core of Tongan community. They are the keepers of culture, the rich historians and the unsung heroes of Tongan culture and heritage. Malo Elelei from the Kingdom of Tonga! Dona gifted Sandy with a traditional dawala made from the finest pandanus leaves. This is to symbolize the lives of Tamata Pacifica and how they are woven together with culture, and that we must wrap it around us with pride and wear it as a badge of honor.
I can't believe how many different cultures and identities we've seen in such a short time. Oh, this really does feel like a dream.
Sandy, if you think that feels like a dream, wait until you see the next group of islands. Follow me.
Home to the Mahu, a gender and role in traditional Hawaiian society that referred to those who embodied the masculine and feminine spirit. Early Hawaiians valued and respected Mahu as they were healers, caretakers, and teachers of tradition and cultural practice. Despite 200 years of Western influence, cultural oppression, and attempted erasure, the Hawaiian people have retained their cultural practices. They have reinvigorated their language and are preserving to engage their people in cultural knowledge and foundation. And much like the Hawaiian spirit, Mahu continue in their historic roles and thrive in their existence as leaders and cultural pillars for their people. Aloha! symbolizes the welcoming hospitality of the Hawaiian people. By being given a leg, the ancestors hoped that Sandy would always feel welcomed and at home with her identity as a child of the Pacifica, and that no matter where she is at, no one can question her Pacific identity. Coming through the distance are the sounds of drum beats, which means Vaka and Sandy have reached another destination. On the island of Tahiti, there is said to be a sixth sense, one that belongs to neither men nor women. This sense is the sole domain of the Mahu or Raiwai in Tahiti. The Mahu of Tahiti are recognized as being outside the traditional male-female divide. This gender identity has been accepted in Tahiti over the centuries, and ever since then, they have continued to possess a power that is difficult to explain. Tonight, the Raiwai and Mahu of Tahiti perform for you the Otea, a dance used to enthrall a lover, to challenge enemies, and used for worship and prayer. With each dance, there is a uniqueness to their story. Dearest friends, please welcome the islands of Tahiti. Sandy is gifted the talanoa from the ancestors in hopes that Sandy too will stand firm and strong in her cultural belief. The talanoa is prevalent throughout all the Pacific, and it highlights the importance of the strongest part of our bodies, the legs, which carries the heart and the mind.
Vaka, I've received so much from our ancestors, yet I haven't given them anything. Now I feel so bad.
Don't feel bad. You have given plenty by opening up your mind and accepting this journey. And most of all, providing a place for us to stay in your hearts. But Sandy, I hope you enjoy this last culture that we're about to see.
Wait, last? Already? I feel empty all of a sudden. It's been such a wonderful journey. I don't want to wake up.
And to think you wanted to run away in the beginning,
I know, but maybe just a little. But
I think it's those 3 gifts.
no. I was shocked at first. But this is exactly what I needed. But Vaka, does the last island happen to be Samoa? Because I haven't seen them yet.
Yes, my child. The last island, we end our tour with the happy people of Samoa.
Often referred to as the heart of Polynesia, this is a nation divided into 2 parts. The islands of Eastern Samoa, present-day American Samoa, that was claimed as a territory of the United States. Western Samoa, known today as the independent state of Samoa. This nation endeavors to maintain its distinctive culture and traditions in a living culture where most of its cultural elements are integrated into everyday life. It is home to the cultural identities of Fa'afafine and Fa'atane in a manner of a woman or man. These identities are more than their literal meaning. It is a journey that one takes from masculine to feminine and vice versa. These beautiful unsung heroes are the pillars of Samoan society and the backbone of all Samoan families. Their roles are vital as they continue to perpetuate the customs of Samoa. Please, welcome to the stage, the Islands of Samoa.
Samoa, usimaya sila mana maimwa. Samoa de nega de fafidianchi. Samoa.
that upon her head she carries the lineage of her people and the mana of her ancestors.
Oh, Sandy, you look beautiful, my dear. After any Samoan Vaka, there's always a talanoa finale. So tonight, the people of Samoa has given you the honor to dance the talanoa. So yeah, and we are your favorite. Don't worry, Sandy. I will always be with you in spirit. But come, now is the time. Sandy, take what you've learned and share it with the world. Embrace your Pacifica. You are from a long line of innovators, of brilliant navigators, and of cultural stewards. Sandy, take us with you wherever you may go, and we, your ancestors, will always, always be with you. And do not forget, be a good girl. Thank you, Vaka. Farewell.
As Sandy slowly makes her way back to reality, she takes one last glance at her ancestors with tears in her eyes. They wave farewell to their beloved Sandy and send her off with their mother to be her guide throughout this life. They sing, Isa Isa, Vulani Nasadu, a Fijian farewell song that states, my dear, you are my only treasure. Must you leave me so lonely and forsaken? From the moment I heard your tender heart beating, mid the sunshine, we spent the hours together. Now so swiftly, those happy hours are fleeting. Over the ocean, your island home is coming. Who would have thought that this cold-hearted girl would find her hope and love in the very people she denied? Sandy, has spent her entire life conforming to the Western ideology of success, not knowing that her success has long been rooted in her cultural identity. As Pacific Islanders living away from our place of origin, it is often difficult to maintain our cultural practices in a foreign land. However, like Sandy, we too must take this journey to remind us of how rich of a culture we are from. The prayers of our ancestors have kept us, and their Maui and mana live within us. It is our duty to ignite that flame and pass it on for generations to come. We often bear gifts when traveling, and traditionally, those gifts are owned also. There's a Samoan saying that is quite often used for travelers embarking on a journey. Tapena Saroso Molangalaka, which simply means prepare a gift for your travels and journey. Sandy was not only gifted with traditional handicrafts and garments, but she was gifted with the gift of humility, respect, courage, and pride for her heritage. A little reminder for you and I, as we take our individual journeys in this life, always prepare a gift for those you meet along the way, for it will impact their lives greatly, as we have seen with Sandy.
Our leadership
Thank you so very much for everyone who's watching. That was such an awesome show. It was also awesome to like sort of relive it. We had our own little watch party here with those of us who are still at the office, and I'm just so grateful to the members and the volunteers of the Tautua Trans Leadership Cohort. Great job. But we also want to thank a few of the people who made the luau and made our production possible, specifically our sponsors. I think our hibiscus sponsor was J Squared Investments, so thank you so very much. We also have Cadell's Laser Treatment and Electrolysis, Lonnie Fisher Homes, and Thrive Cosmetics, who were our Bird of Paradise sponsors. And then last but not least, we also have Seattle Foundation, Alaska Airlines, Social Justice Fund, Pierce County AIDS Foundation, Surge, Umpqua Bank, Molina Cares, Pride Foundation, Health Point, Advocate Accounting, ACLU of Washington, Create Fitness, UTOPIA Portland, Pacific Islander Community Association of Washington, Pacific Islander Center of Primary Care Excellence, White Center Community Development Association, Elegant Treasures, Empowering Pacific Islander Communities, Bombay Fiji Bazaar, Bellevue Lighting, and last but not least, Amelia Tenes Merch. Those were our Gardenia sponsors. Thank you so very much for making that event possible, for helping to support our community, and specifically supporting our cutie pies. So now I'm going to bring back our amazing panelists. Awesome. I just want to congratulate all of you. From the beginning of, the ending of May all the way to the actual production in August, that was so much hard work, so much blood, sweat, and tears put into that production, that cultural presentation. Thank you all so much for your hard work. I know that was a pretty long show, so we'll jump right into the last few questions for our talanoa. This question is actually for Del and Ara, who I know were the leaders of this boat. They were the I don't even know the terms for the boat stuff, so I'm not going to try and go there. But I know that they were helping to steer this huge ship to where we took it. And so for Del and Ara, there must have been some hurdles to overcome during this journey, behind the journey of Vaka. What cultural practices and methods were used during the process to keep things moving forward?
I guess I can start. Being an organizer in any setting is very difficult. You're tasked with so much responsibility. You're also tasked with the responsibility of caring for others and making sure that people foster relationships that are are nurturing, right? Not only with us as organizers, with participants, but participants with one another. And so, I'd be lying if I was to say that it was all smooth sailing, right? We encountered a few hurdles, but with the help of everyone collectively, not just Del and I or any of the island leaders, but collectively we came together and used a few cultural methods that we normally use, and one of those is talanoa. This methodology of talanoa, nonofo, sitting down, sitting down and actually letting each other know what we're feeling in that time, in that space. We were able to cultivate these healthy relationships as we in the course of 2 months. And so, and also trying to find a way that we can entertain folks, all the while educating them on the different identities that we hold collectively as Pacifica queer and trans individuals. And so it was a task, right? We had to write. There were nights where we were writing and we got carried away. We didn't want it to be your typical PCC or Jermaine's Luau type of feel where people just come and see people dancing and leave. We wanted people not only to be entertained, but we also wanted them to have an experience and be educated, right? It's not so much that we come here to entertain you. It's not enough that we do that, but we want you to be educated. By the end of the night, you would know what a fafafine is and where that is indigenous to, what island it's from. You would know what mahu is, right? And so I think that we were able to accomplish that mission the night of. And so thankful to work with such a beautiful and lovely cast of people. Down.
Yeah, I like to echo what Ara just said. I think for myself, a few hurdles were um, trying to send out the message about ourselves, and putting together a show, and also building and feeding off of each other. I felt that it was a big task. It was a hard one. It wasn't easy, but with everybody's hard work and input, and just putting in, it made it more easier for our journey. 2 months wasn't easy at all, and trying to get in all of our cast members and our dancers, it was hard. We had to work around schedules. We had to make sure that we're catering to them as well. Um, we're not treating them as kids. We're all adults. It's a different approach. So I think when we all come together, as Ara said, and we sit and we talk and we share, it made the work easy. And kudos to everybody. Thank you so much to the cohort. Brandon, I think we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this question actually goes out to Naya and Aisha. Specifically, could you give a really quick account of your overall reflection of your time learning, and then all the way from the ending of May all the way to the performance in August? Were there highs and lows of the process? And yeah, what's your reflection on the entire thing?
Okay.
No, we can start with Naya, or actually Nisha. Let's start with Nisha.
Okay. So just a couple of the highs. It's just a little bit of a reflection from, or an echo to Dell, what Dell just said. And that's the highs are just the gathering and the team effort, the team building, just everything in the works. Some of the lows obviously are the frustrations of just juggling life itself. And that's another echo to what Dell just mentioned. Juggling, a work time and trying to make time to even make it possible to be there, to be a part of the practice and the preparation for the event itself.
Mm-hmm.
For overall reflection, I think we did a marvelous job, and I would like to just give everybody a round of applause just for everything that they've done to make this a very successful night. Without everybody's hand in it, it wouldn't be as successful as it is.
Oh, Naya, I think you're muted too.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I completely agree with Nisha regarding the relationships and the bonds for the highs. For me, the highs in this whole experience speak directly to the relationships that were, if not established, but like some of the girls, actually a lot of the girls I had heard of or known through social media, but we never met in person. And then having to see them every day for 2 months, it obviously forced us into a space where we were different, but we got to know each other. I just would like to give a mad shout out to the girls that were under my care. So Val, and Nina, and Baby Fly, Tony with an I, and Collins and Vacious, the karaoke sensation. I want to give them a major shout out because a lot of my highs have to do with them. I don't know if you were aware, but we won best overall performance. But let me tell you
I
this.
think it was fixed.
Sorry, love. Next year, dear. But what I want to say is that that it our a lot of the highs for me came from having a group that was so moldable, coachable, committed, and just the vibes. Even I could feel sometimes how tired they were, but they just kept this positive attitude around it. They were very just open to the different craziness that I was throwing at them, and so I appreciate them so much. I want to give a shout out to Ruby, who played a huge part in executing our uniforms. She didn't have to, right? But she stepped up and just executed so flawlessly. So thank you, Ruby. Um, uh, those are a lot of my highs. Working with Ara and Dale and the rest of the team, I think that was another part of this, was taking that that backseat and just whatever instruction was given to me, doing my best to receive the instruction direction and honor their time, honor the leaders' time as well as my team. So those are the highs. With the lows, I don't want to address them as lows, but more so opportunities. The opportunity, obviously, being on a cast with all queens and personalities and divas, there's so much emotional weight that comes with this. But I will say this: I'm grateful for that structure that Ara, as our leader, had kind of implemented, and then us as leaders in our own respective islands, we continue to reinforce that structure. And I think the opportunity moving forward is for us to kind of take the notes from here and continue to build, because we're going to grow. And if we're going to support an even larger mass of outreach of the next generation, it's going to take us digging deeper and really getting into our britches and finding ways to reinforce and fortify that structure. So that's the only thing I would have. Again, it's not a low, it's an opportunity. But I do want to say, Brandon, thank you for coming out to practices. I don't think people know this about, since we're talking about what's happening behind the scenes. But what I will say is about this, with this whole experience, the leaders that were UTOPIA leaders specifically were present. And I think that's a huge deal when it comes to trying to accomplish a successful event with this many individuals, is that your leaders there's visibility around who's there. They're not just barking orders or trying to do this, but the leaders for this, they were there. They were available. They were open and approachable. And so I want to say thank you to our leaders, because you don't always get that. Ara had mentioned Jermaine's Luau, PCC. It is not often that the performers get direct access to the leaders the way that we did. And I think it's because of the purpose and message behind our shows. So thank you again to Dale, to Ara, to Taffy, Tepa, everyone, all my fellow peers that were leaders in their islands. Thank you. And I look forward to serving in the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Naya. Yeah.
Can I just add on to Naya? This whole journey with practices and stuff, it was interesting on my end, because here I got to know more of the cohort and people from our community. And, a lot of them come with different attitudes. They come with different behavior, different characters. And I really loved every single bit of it, because we get to feed off of it and we get to build around it as well. And it makes us move forward and how we can better ourselves. So it was a great journey. Just with the leaders that we chosen, and the song selection, the most thing that I will take out of this whole journey is teamwork. How everybody came together, they set aside all differences. And when it came the last week, um, if you see all the uniforms that were made, it was all made by our cohort. Every member had a thing to do with it, and that was the good thing about it. Good teamwork, and I can't wait for the future to see what if there's a Vaka 2.
Yes, Vaka 2, come through.
And Brandon, I wanted to echo that what Del and Naya mentioned, right? Every opportunity that was given, I wouldn't identify it as a low, like Naya said. It was a growing opportunity. And, from the bottom of my heart, to every cohort member, to every member that had danced or was a volunteer or even invested time in this production, thank you. Thank you very much, because without you, this would have never happened. And from the depths of my heart, I'm very thankful. People like to mention that these were the leaders and these were not. We were nothing without everyone. It was a collective effort and it was a collaborative effort. We got here because we worked together. We decided to come together as a unit, culturally and collectively, and this is the result of it. And so thank you very much to everyone who had a hand in this production.
Yes, yeah, I think everything that each of you brought up a really good point. From my experience as the events and production manager specifically for this event and this production, I never really saw. Sorry, one moment.
I'll show you.
Sorry, because we're hosting this at our office. Our cleaners are here, but we're trying to negotiate with them too. But yeah, so actually, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is my first experience seeing a production like this, where it's not only rooted in Indigenous identity and Indigenous education, but a performance group that is all Indigenous identities that I am learning to embrace, and learning more about. I was just telling Ara when we were watching the playback, I've never seen a production of all Indigenous performers, more or less female, all women, and it was just a really beautiful thing to see. And I remember in the practices, like talking amongst other folks, is like, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see, like such a large amount of thriving individuals within this community coming together to put something together like this. Which leads me to the last question.
And Brandon, I think it's very important that you point out that this is probably the first production of its kind that consists of 44 trans women of color, specifically trans women of the Pacific.
Yes.
Never been done before. And hopefully, we'll have more opportunities to do this, but this is the first of its kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. To have been a part of that, to have been a part of that history is a blessing to me, and I just thank you for embracing me and letting me come into this community and this group to help make what we did. And so this last question is actually for. I wrote it out because it's something my younger self would have loved to hear, especially from amazing individuals like yourself, is for those who are interested in or, are curious, but don't have access or aren't as founded in their traditional practices and being rooted in their heritage by way of artistic forms of expression and communication. What advice would you give them? And we can start with Ara, maybe go to Del, Nisha, and then Naya.
What is advice that I would give to someone that wants to be rooted in their cultural practices? Well, in the process of making this production happen and come to life, we noticed that there was a big need for cultural work, right? We have cultural work already implemented in our programs here at UTOPIA, but now we're tasked with the job of elevating that. And we see the big need that there is. And quite frankly, it's very difficult to uphold this westernized way of living, as well as trying to hold on to your original beliefs and values of living in diaspora, right? So we created a space here at UTOPIA for folks to thrive in celebrating their heritage, in celebrating their culture, whether that be in music, whether that be in dance, whether that be in writing, or whatever type of form. I will encourage you folks to join this program. We prioritize queer and trans-Pacific Islander youth, but we are also extending this program to intergenerational folks, right? And creating that relationship to foster that opportunity for those relationships to foster. And this program is called Rooted in Culture. Rooted in Culture stands for Revisiting Our Original Ties, Empowering Diaspora. And this is designed specifically for queer and trans-Pacific Islanders who live outside of their places of origin to get in contact with their roots, right? To develop some type of understanding of where they're from through celebrating their values, through celebrating their Pacifica heritage, as mentioned before, through music, through any type of form of expression the folks need. And that would be probably the first step of my advice to some. Get plugged in. Get plugged in into the programs that we have here available for you folks. They're wonderful. You get to meet other people just like you, who look like you, celebrating your culture. Second of all, is just to do your research, right? If you can't or you don't want to, you have us available here. Our information is on our website, www.utopiawa.org. You learn all about us. You can ring me up, and I will be so open to just talking about some culture, talking about some ways we can develop that understanding and develop your analysis on culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Ara. I guess my advice to those would don't hold back on what you want. If you feel like you want to get into, getting into culture practices, as Ara said, research, go to it. If you can't go to it, give them a call, reach out. I know people are willing to help you, and if it comes down to transportation or things, there's always resources out there to help you out. You can always start it within your church, as we mentioned earlier. That's how I started, going through our churches, then expanding out to community members, being around friends, being around the right people who are just like you. That would lead you towards getting into your culture. So don't hold back. Don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to call us. We're here. We're here to help. We're also here to help any culture. I'm in it to learn it as well. If I don't know anything, I think like Naisha and her culture, I got to know what their culture is about just because she's coming around. And we encourage all of our Pacific Islanders out there. This is a safe place for you to show your culture. So welcome. Please come. Call me. Yes.
And I also think it's very important for us to, to hone in on the fact that UTOPIA Washington is probably the only queer and trans-Pacific Islander organization out here in Washington. So if you ever have any need in regards to cultural practices or a need for cultural work to be done, then this is where your resources will flow from. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to anyone here because of whatever circumstance there might be, there's also Pikawa, who does awesome work here in Washington.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. Naisha and Naya, same question.
So I just want to echo pretty much. It's pretty much the same thing that Ara and Del just mentioned. That don't be afraid. Reach out. That's the only way. That's the first step is reaching out and trying. Don't be afraid to explore your tradition and your cultural practices, I would say. It doesn't hurt to learn other cultural stuff as well. I am very multicultural person. I really need to knock my head in there. Knock myself in the head because I need to focus on Carolinian right now. But I literally I know a lot of Samoans, just the way of life, just being around a lot of Samoans, and I guess that's probably something that I need to do, and that's start looking for more Carolinians that I can be around and where I can learn my language. And I would say it's not going to hurt you. And like they said, we have resources out there. I believe I am one of an instructor. In any case, for my culture, I would definitely love to help someone out. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Teach me, Nisha.
I would like to speak directly. Oh, can you hear me? I would like to speak directly to what Brandon, you had inquired and referenced when you were saying how this question is something that you would wanted to have an answer at a younger age. And so I want to speak directly to that child or that person who feels like, maybe they're a little nervous about learning more about their culture, or maybe trying to seek that validation or permission to enter the space or the room. I want to tell you that, to that person, you don't need to seek that validation. You don't need to seek that approval or that love, because you come from it, right? You were born with that. The moment you took your first breath and you're a beautiful brown little baby, you were born with every right to dig deep into your roots and continue to carry that torch. Whether you're perpetuating our culture through dance and song or recipes, whatever that is for you, I just want to tell you, don't fear, don't be afraid, as my sisters have mentioned. But again, I want to tell you over and over that you don't need to seek that validation or permission to enter the room. You were born with that. You were born with that love, and it dates back to years and years and generations of grandmothers who were praying for their children. Just elders and chiefs and villages that came together without any technology. They overcame adversity without any technology. They were able to raise families healthily and keep lines of communication and love open. And so, what I definitely want to tell to anyone out there who doesn't feel like they have that place, that home, UTOPIA Washington can definitely be that for you. But most importantly, you don't need to look anywhere else, because you are that home, right? You are that. You are exactly who you need to be. And when you come to a place like UTOPIA, all we do is put tools in your hand to then sharpen your craft, to dig deeper and to figure out what your gift is, to be able to then turn it over and return it tenfold to the world. And so I just wanted to say that. And I just want to talk about how much of an honor it was. This whole journey has just been so um, knowledgeable. I've learned so much about everyone, and everyone's strengths and everyone's you know other people's pet peeves, and I love it. I don't look back and regret. I just love being a part of this, and I love being able to support or help wherever I can, and I'll never forget it. That's for sure. And so I just want to thank you guys for that. Thank you. I love you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Naya.
Yes. I love those answers a lot. Yeah, and for those of you who are watching, a simple share gets this information out there to other folks who need it, to other folks who want it, to other folks who are learning and wanting to learn about it. And a lot of what was spoken on with UTOPIA Washington, I'd like to move on just to a bit of I guess, organization updates, information and resources for our community before we say goodbye to our lovely panelists. Moving on to our organization updates. So we have our civic engagement, a few activities that are coming up. We have Adopt the Street, which is a cleanup activity that we've done twice this year already. Activity 3.0 is coming up on Saturday, October 9th. It's from 12 to 3. I have participated in the last one, and it's a really great event. So not only get to know your community, but also to make a difference in cleaning our streets and adopting the street. Our sign actually went up, which is really cool. So yeah, it's our third Adopt the Street event, and it's coming up again Saturday, October 9th from 12 to 3. The link to sign up should be posted in the comments section, but also all of our events are always posted on our website at www.utopiawa.org. I believe you can also /events. But our website is pretty self-explanatory. We also have a UTOPIA Wa phone bank coming up on Tuesday, October 26th from 5:30 to 7. Specifically looking for a few individuals to make phone calls to eligible voters in Washington State to get out and vote in their general state elections on November 2nd. The information to sign up for that is also going to be in the comment section. The registration link to sign up should be up there. Along with the phone bank, we have a text bank, which is on Thursday, October 28th from 5:30 to 7. Same deal, but we are trying to make phone calls again to help get out and vote in the general state elections. As far as community engagement, you can always subscribe to our monthly newsletter via our website. You can also follow us on all of our social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, we have TikTok, and we have Twitter. But yeah, visit our website for all volunteer and donation opportunities. And as far as our community resources, we also have a Halekukua community closet and food pantry. It's open Monday to Friday from 11 to 4 by appointment. Feel free to reach out to any of our staff members via our website. You can also reach us at mail@utopiawa.org. And a few other events that are coming up. We have a digital special for Miss Utopia Washington, Looking Back, that celebrates our Miss Utopia International pageant. It'll feature past winners and our Miss Utopia International 2019 to 2021, Beyonce Black St. James. It'll premiere on Facebook Live, much like tonight's talanoa, on Friday, October 15th at 6 p.m. And in November, we have a very important week to our community as well as our organization. It's Trans Awareness Week, which is followed by Trans Day of Remembrance. This year's Trans Awareness Week and Trans Day of Remembrance will feature community events like we have a paint and platter coming up, hosted by the amazing Manetueana, a name and gender marker correction clinic. We're having it right here at our office. And a special talanoa, as well as a community outreach event put together by our Sex Work Empowerment Initiative program managers. More information for those events will come up sometime next month. It'll all be on our website and all of our social medias. But before we say goodbye, I'd like to invite all of our panelists up again so that I can just thank you for your hard work, for your time, for all of your knowledge and lived experience that you so willingly shared with our community. As someone who just moved here to Washington and is new to this community and new to embracing my Indigenous identity within this community, I am grateful to be amongst you. I am grateful to have been amongst you these past few months, seeing your hard work, seeing your drive and your passion for our culture, for your cultures. And yeah, I always have a feeling of gratitude when it comes to this organization and working for you and working with you and serving our community, because it's, I know that there are a lot of young folks who could really thrive in environments like this. And I know that we're going to provide a lot more opportunities and resources for them. And it's because of individuals like yourself that make it all possible. So again, thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jaren, as well.
And Brandon, you've been a wonderful host. Shout out to Brandon and Jaren behind the scenes for just having this wonderful talk. It's been a wonderful night.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you, Naya. I like your face.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Aloha.
Bye, Flo.
Bye.